This is the 11th Webcam Weekly Wrap-Up. I don't have enough fingers to count how many this has been. I hope everyone's had a great weekend. Hope your holiday shopping is close to done. Mine is, if not done, it's like I've either got everything that I want to get for people, or at least I know what I'm going to get so I can order it. I still got some time. Wait, there's something missing. Oh, my old man chin is gone. I decided to just get rid of it. I immediately look like 15 years younger. That's kind of why I don't mind having a little bit of gray as I let my hair grow a little bit, but having this be kind of silver and then ultra silver here, I'm like, we got to get rid of something like that. So, let's see what happened this week. First week of December, boy, the weather changed right away. I don't know where you are, but on Cape Cod, it went from, oh, we're having a nice, warmer than average fall to then it instantly freezing cold. It's been lows in the 20s. There was one day the high was right around freezing. I'm like, I understand that it's winter, but it's different when it first hits you. And me being stupid, I like to go out and shoot the sunset, sometimes sunrise, only when I'm on my way to work. But what ends up happening is these first few times that it's cold, I don't dress like it's cold. I dress like it's still 50 degrees out. So then I'm going out to shoot the sunset and I'm just shivering. I'm surprised my camera, the photos aren't all blurry from me shaking. The temperature, howling winds that seem to be more prevalent in December, that and the sunset around 4:10. It's all combined to just be like, oh, it's not summer anymore. But hey, at least the sun will set after 5 again in about 8 weeks. So one thing that I've started doing, my blog, it used to be the In My Footsteps podcast blog. I changed it, put my name in there because it's not just podcast stuff. This has been, I think I said it last week, my most prolific year for writing my blog ever. And I've had that blog since like 2009. But what I've been doing is going through a lot of older writing, digitizing it. I like the idea. So I got my Vegas journal. I think that I have mentioned this before that I'm going through my Vegas journal. Ooh, you can see it up from 2000, 2001, digitizing it, which means typing it up, I guess. It's not the same as turning VHS tapes that I've got over there to digital. But I've been going through and reading some stuff. I said it's going to be redacted a bit because I don't trash talk really people in it. I was kind of surprised. But the big thing that's going to make it redacted is there's a lot of naming names of girls I was into around that time. And it's one of those things that nothing good will come from sharing that. Like, oh, so and so, I was so into them back then. Because I really don't see a situation where one of them is A, going to read the blog, but then B, read the blog and say, oh, I didn't know he was so into me back in 2000. And then I'm going to get a email or a phone call, be like, I never knew. Now we can pick up where we should have been. It's a fairy tale. No, that's not what's going to happen. But besides the Vegas journal, something else I noticed that's interesting, I don't know if it's an anomaly or something in my life, my setup, that here is where in December I've got the heat on because it's finally cold. I run hot. I got Scandinavian blood, Swedish. That's why the last name Setterlund came from. What I noticed is that in wintertime, I'll set my heat low, 64, 65. That's perfect for me. I said I run hot. Look, I got long sleeve on right now. But what I noticed is that my heat will be set at 64, 65 through the winter. Then in summer, when it's time to put the AC on, it'll be set at 68, 69 degrees. So it's like I thought they would have been even, or I thought that it would have been the heat would have been higher than the AC was. I don't know. It's one of those things that I must have had an edible going or something, and I'm thinking about things like that. It's like, who the hell cares? Well, I'm sharing it now that my heat is cooler in winter than my AC is cool in summer. There you go. The more you know. A funny thing happened a few days ago. There's a place near me, next town over, Scargo Tower. It's a really great spot. Old stone tower, over 100 years old, that the view from the top of Scargo Lake, which is below, it's shaped like a fish. And then beyond that is Cape Cod Bay. I haven't been there in probably a couple of years. And I went there and I was kind of expecting people to be there. There's enough room at the top of this hill. I mean, you could probably fit several cars, but it's usually three or four. So if you drive up there and you see a few cars, it's like, well, I don't want to go up to the top of this tower that's like 30 feet tall with a ton of other people. But I got there and there were no cars, so I was excited. So, ooh, I'm going to grab my selfie stick, which is what's holding this ring light up, and go and video myself going to the top and shoot a video of the scenery. It's like, ooh, that'll make a TikTok viral video. So the irony is, as soon as I hit record on the selfie stick that started my phone going, I'm walking into the tower and you could immediately see a car coming up the road. Like I just knew it. I knew it was too good to be true. So the video, I'm going up the stairs as fast as I can to try to get a little bit of the vantage point without other people yelling and screaming. People came up. It was a family and they were really nice. It's one of those I wasn't going to yell at them. I'm trying to get a video. Get out. But when I was going back down, there was a younger couple coming up and it was dark or almost dark by then because I was shooting the sunset. So I decided to give them the tower because I was young once. So I was like, they don't want to have some old creep. I had my black hoodie on and I had my old man beard. So it's like, I'm going to make the third wheel in their romantic moment. So I decided to leave them alone. Oh man, so this is a story that sometimes I look for excuses to share funny memories. This one, I don't know how this came up. There was a patient at my work that somehow made me think of this. And I honestly doesn't matter how it came up. The fact is I get to tell this story. So, I mean, we're going back almost 30 years, I bet, mid 90s. There was a garbage man. I think it was the garbage man used to come to my nana's house and, take the trash. And this was back, I'm sure you still do it, but when you would have those people, garbage man or delivery people, you give them Christmas card or something and vice versa, you exchange. So the garbage man left a Christmas card for my nana. Probably a reminder. Here's your Christmas card. Give me mine with cash in it. Now, I don't know how exactly this came about, but someone in the family was reading the card. It was just a regular card. I think the name of the garbage man was Doug Carp. I don't know. Hopefully, Mr. Carp, if you see this, thank you for taking my Nana's trash 30 years ago. But he signed it, Doug Carp. Someone in the family remarked that his signature made it look like his name was Dog Crap. And so it's, I don't know where to go from there because it did look a bit like it and it was so funny. The biggest thing about it was my nana's reaction to that because once she heard that and then looked at his signature, she laughed until she cried. And that was always one of my favorite memories of childhood was when my nana would laugh so hard that she'd literally be in tears. Those were some of the best moments, but I'm pretty sure the guy's name was Doug Carp, and I know he didn't sign his name dog crap, but it just made me think of it. It makes me wish we had cell phones back then so I could have a picture of the card with his signature so you could see it. But yeah, I miss those days of my nana, just her laugh. A lot of her laughing until she cried moments would typically be from the game we used to play called Pass It On, which it was like a drawing game. We'd have a bunch of us, usually 7, 8 members of the family around her oval shaped dining room table. We'd all have sheets of paper, and it was, you would draw something. But instead of drawing the whole sketch of a horse on a farm, you would draw a part of it. And then you would pass it on to the next person. And then they would add to it, draw the horse's neck, draw legs, draw, and eventually you'd keep going around and around, and then at the end you would give the picture back because everyone would put their name on the sheet of paper. You'd give their picture back to them. And then the best part was the critique from the family, where you would look and just talk about how terrible each drawing was. And my nana would just be in tears laughing because we just would be going on and on about, look at this horse, it should have been made into glue, or whoever drew this barn. I don't know. There's another funny old story that actually got brought into my head by something stupid I almost did this week. So a couple days during the week, Wednesday, Thursday, I got to go into my day job super early. I have to be in there before 7 because usually my first clients that I train come in at 7. Anyway, I tend to get up, God, between 4:30 and 4:45, which, God, it's insanity. Imagine, I used to, every now and then I would try to get up on days off at that time to go to the gym for 5 a.m. It's like, you people who do that, you're a special kind of crazy. I tried it a couple times and it's like, I'd rather sleep and go to the gym after the sun set than wake up early and get out of the gym for sunrise. Anyway, so I'm half asleep and I'm going into the bathroom. I got to brush my teeth before I go to work. It's probably 5:45. And I grab my electric toothbrush and I reach into the drawer to grab the toothpaste. What I pulled out instead was deodorant, and I'm zoned out. I actually popped the top on it and I had my brush and I'm looking like, wait a minute. That's not what I want to use to brush my teeth. So I put it back and got the toothpaste. That was close, but it reminded me of when I was, I don't know how old I was, 6, 7 years old. My sister and I actually brushed our teeth with Preparation H. When you're a kid, the Preparation H tube doesn't look that much different from toothpaste. I don't know if I could read at that time. I wasn't like 18 doing it. I wasn't drunk and saying, let's brush our teeth with hemorrhoid cream. But I think my mother said that she had to call poison control just to see if we could get sick from it. But I don't think we did. But man, you imagine that? I don't know how parents do it. I don't have any kids, and some of these stories are probably the reason why. Where if you go into the bathroom and your two kids, there were two of us at the time, were in there brushing their teeth with hemorrhoid cream. Like, it's like you couldn't write it, but it's real. Man. So this is one part laughter, one part shaking my head in amazement at stupidity. Near, so not too far from here, 5-minute drive, there's a whole bunch of drainage work going on the streets. There's a lot of detours. It's annoying, but whatever. They're fixing drainage issues. So this road that runs right near where I go to the gym, they were working on that, and eventually it fixed. They paved it over. Time came to put the two yellow lines there in the middle of the road so people know the lanes to be in with their cars. What I noticed this week is that these double yellow lines are not in the middle of the road. They are easily at least two-thirds of the way over towards one side of the street. What it means is on one side of the road, you've got enough room for one and a half cars. And on the other side of the road, unless you're driving one of those smart car shoebox cars, you're going to be into the other lane. And it's kind of funny because I can't believe that whoever did this, that they couldn't measure the road and say, okay, the road is whatever, 20 feet across. We've got to be 10 feet in and do it. Or that it goes like 1,000 feet where it's just, just like, what a waste. Like they need to go in there and fix that because there's going to be accidents where somebody's going to be driving and say, I can't fit in this lane. So I'm going to go in the other lane and someone's going to be coming right on the edge of the lines. Like I can see this coming, but it's just like, how did you make that mistake? Why have you not fixed it? And also imagining how much money these people get paid to screw up like that. It's like, man, I want that job where I can just totally do it wrong and still get paid loads of money. It's like, come on, where can I get a job like that? So sometimes I feel like my life, my thoughts, I'm in an echo chamber of my own voice, my own perspective. When it comes to my creativity, my path in life, kind of value, self worth type things. Because my dream is to be totally self employed, to use my creativity, like what I'm doing here with this Webcam Weekly Wrap Up, the audio podcast, my books, the blogs, all that, that whole stew of creativity to make it be my only source of income. And I think sometimes I'm trapped by my own mind's limitations or perceived limitations. And this kind of sucks. Like you got to rewire your own brain to kind of push through those roadblocks. But to make it a little more lighthearted, those of you that watch Seinfeld, have you ever seen there's an episode where George gets a book about risk management because he doesn't know what it is and he's got to learn about it and give a presentation at work. And he doesn't want to read the book because it's like a dictionary. So what he does is he gets a book on tape and like an audio book back in the 90s. But the funny part is when George sits down with his Walkman and puts the tape on, the narrator of the book on tape is his voice. So he's like, the guy sounds just like me and he can't concentrate and he can't pay attention because it's like hearing his own voice. And I think that's kind of what I'm getting at is like if you are only hearing your own voice, you're going to keep going around in circles. So it's like you need to get advice or motivation from someone that's not you. That's where I thought of it as being like the Seinfeld episode, where it's part of it is like a real thing and it's not fun. And it's like I feel like I'm behind, like I'm always trying to catch up to where I think I should be. But then on the other side, it's the Seinfeld episode that's funny. So I try to tie it together so this isn't super duper sad and depressing. It's just food for thought. I mean, this is based on my initial impressions 2.0 blog. The original initial impressions I did in 2010 through 2012, and it was my weekly life. So that's where this idea came from. And a lot of it was foolishness, just like I've been talking about. But there'd be some poignant things, some thought provoking things, not all the time. I want it to be where if you're watching this, you laugh a lot at this foolishness. It's all real. All my stories that I tell, I make sure when I experience something, I put notes in my phone, like, oh, that's going in the podcast or the blog. So hopefully you enjoyed this week's episode 11 Webcam Weekly Wrap Up. It's been tough getting on schedule. I think I said last week they're doing some work in the other end of the apartment where I live. So it's hard to do this video setup if you've got people going in and out and hammers and saws and things. It's like I don't want to be trying to record this and suddenly there's like some random dude like standing there like, "Hi everyone." I mean, I wouldn't, it's not live, but still. You want it to be kind of self-contained. So but thank you for tuning in. If you like this content, if you want to support my content, hey, it's the holidays. You can become a subscriber on Patreon. $5 a month gets you access to bonus podcasts, early access to YouTube videos. I've got a growing free tier for those of you that don't want to subscribe or donate. I mean, I wish you would, but you don't have to. You want to go in and sample my wares without having to pay. I've got a free tier. You can always buy me a coffee too. That's more of the one shot deals. If you're like, oh, I want to give him $2 because he's a good boy, or $3 because he shaved his old man beard off. Speaking of the holidays, if you like reading, if you know people that enjoy reading, Cape Cod history, travel, photography, maybe a little true crime, I have 9 books. You can see them there. It's I've been working on those for a long time. Like the whole writing journey really started at the end of 2005. I didn't get a book deal until 2011, but I was doing ebooks all on my own, writing, editing, creating the covers, putting them up on Amazon's Kindle store. God, there were other early ebook platforms. I think Sony had one, Barnes and Noble had the Nook. But these books, it's fun to have a whole collection of books that it's like you created. That's my thing. Content creation. That's what I like. But you can order any of those books through my website, christophersetterland.com. I've got some copies, I could sign and send, Venmo, all that good stuff. But if you enjoy reading, check those out. I've got so much content. I'm hoping that people find me through this and then see, oh, he's got tons of other podcasts, the audio podcast. That's got over 170 episodes. Still going with that. I've got my blog that I redesigned. So it's got bits of everything in there. Subscribe on YouTube. If you're watching this, you're obviously on YouTube, so subscribe. Someday I'll get to enough, I think it's watch hours, so I can start doing monetization and live streams because those would be fun. I would just do this live. You'd see all the parts that I would edit out where it's like I have to stop and edit out either me drinking water or forgetting what I want to talk about. I've got notes on my phone. Anyway, that's going to wrap up episode 11, Webcam Weekly Wrap Up. Go get your holiday shopping done. There's only a few more days left that you can realistically order and know you'll get it in time. There's nothing worse than finding a great present and then having it show up the day after Christmas and be like, happy yesterday. Yeah, that's great. But I'll be back next week. The week's going to be probably crazy, but fun, just like they all are. And I'll be back to share it with you, tell you all about it, and laugh at myself, and maybe give you some fun food for thought. So until then, this has been Webcam Weekly Wrap Up. I'm Christopher Setterland, and I'll see you all next time.